Okay, so it's been another day, ready for another round of optimization and decision making. The ROI for today is about negative 35 or so, so we're definitely improving with every day. Still not profitable yet, but again, with a Smartlink, getting to profit itself is quite a challenge. Looking in FunnelFlux, our ROI looks a little bit better, but that's because the cost is a bit lower. Here we have $6.80. Here we have $7.50. Here we have 10,900 visits. Here we have 9,400. So our click loss has actually been improving as we went from 3G and 4G to just Wi-Fi. That basically indicates that the connectivity of the users is having quite a big impact on any click loss happening here. If I want to make the costs be the same in each system, I can do the upload like I did the other day. But I can also set an advanced setting in traffic sources. So if I edit my Propeller Ads traffic source, I can do an incoming cost modifier of say 110% to automatically add 10% to the incoming click class. This is an easy way to sort of adjust it just to make the numbers a little bit more accurate, although you have to keep in mind that that's going to apply for all traffic on that traffic source, regardless of if it's Algeria or that campaign, right? So it might not make sense to do that broadly for an entire traffic source unless you are making different sources for different countries and so on. Anyway, let's have a look at optimization. So coming through to the stats and clicking in here. So I think now that we've made some quite large adjustments with the offer and with Wi-Fi only and so on, now we can probably start looking at the zones and pausing zones that are burning money and not converting. Another approach you could use is to pause the zones that are working and move those to a new campaign, which is whitelist only. So it's very common practice to kind of have a phishing campaign where you're just going broad and trying to get data, and then having a whitelist campaign where you move any high performing zones or profitable zones to that campaign only to focus the budget and spend there, and you disable them in the phishing campaign and continue. I'm not going to do that because I don't want to continue this case study much longer, since my goal is not really to try and scale this long term. It's just for kind of showing you a process and such here. But we can look through this and make some decisions anyway. But I want to make decisions based on all of the data I've collected, right? We have a bit of a challenge here because today's data is great. It's Wi-Fi targeted. It's only using the monetizer Smartlink. But we have the old data as well, which I would ideally use because there's a lot of spend and conversions. But the old data was mixed in with traffic company and with 3G, 4G, and so on. This is where I can use FunnelFlux reporting to help out. So if I go to the report builder, I can build a report of funnel and then offer to first group by the offer that the users were going to. This grouping makes sense at this point of this kind of funnel because everyone is going to one offer or another, right? So it is like a direct splitting of the actual reporting. Then I can group by connection type, in this case Wi-Fi and mobile, and then I can group by the Propeller Ads zone ID. Now the eagle-eyed among you may notice here that I paused mobile, but here it seems to show that mobile traffic to monetizer actually was profitable. I had a look at the monetizer data for this, so drilling in here and looking at connection type for the last 7 days, and monetizer says that I had only $1 of revenue from cellular, $11 from Wi-Fi, but in FunnelFlux it said that I have, actually let me do last 7 days as well, and let me just filter to make sure it's this funnel. Yep. So for the last 7 days, just drilling back down into that again, FunnelFlux says I had $8 revenue on Wi-Fi, $3.81 on mobile. Monetizer says, coming back to this, 11 and 1. So the splitting here is completely different. This comes down to the fact that FunnelFlux's IP resolution for figuring out the ISP, the connection types, and so on is different to monetizers. So we have some discrepancy there. And this could just be because in Algeria, the sort of IP situation with accuracy of resolution is just not as good as other countries like, US, UK, and so on. But at the end of the day, it's monetizer's opinion on what connection type it is that is going to determine what offers it gets sent to, or the user gets sent to, and the actual conversions that could happen, right? So in this case, I need to base it on the monetizer data, regardless of the FunnelFlux data disagreeing slightly. So that's why here, in that previous one that I showed, where I was looking at just today, we should ignore that mobile was profitable. Okay, now looking at Wi-Fi, what we can do is we can drill down into Wi-Fi only and look at the past 7 days of data. So here we can see we have quite a lot of zones, we have decent amount of spend, and quite a few of them have got multiple conversions and are profitable. So if you want to take the approach of a whitelist campaign, you could very readily take this zone, this zone, this zone, this zone, this zone, and so on. Scrolling down, there's potentially other ones in here as well, and you could move those to a new campaign. I would only really do it when they have multiple conversions and are profitable, not a single conversion. So this one, for example, one conversion, 250% ROI. This is too little data. Like you would want to let that keep going. But this one at the top, for example, this is a great placement. This is the zone with the highest amount of traffic, and it seems to be profitable. So that's great. But these other zones here, for example, these three, they have spent over 50 cents, which is like just referring back to monetizer. If we go to offers, we should always understand something about our basic payouts, right? Like what is the average revenue we're getting per conversion? If we look at all the leads here, okay, what have we got? We only have one from these, around 20 from these, and let's say that's $10. That makes them about 50 cents each, 50, 50, 50, 30. So on average, our conversions are 30 to 50 cents, right? So based on that, anything that has spent over, say, 50 cents with no conversions, that could be your trigger for killing that zone and removing it from your campaign. To remove it, all you would do is just copy the zone ID, come here, and you can paste it here, and then you can disable it. So I'm going to go ahead and disable this one. Okay, and then you can also do it for multiple ones. So I can, just to take an example, I can copy these, come in here to propeller ads, hit enter, and it shows all of these. I can then now tick them all, and I can hit exclude to remove them. Okay, but based on what I see here, these two zones here, they look a bit odd because they have, well, this one has 5 conversions but 4 cents in revenue. So for some reason this is converting but creating very little revenue. I don't quite understand why that's happening. Maybe over on the monetizer side, those conversions are specifically, or this one's rev share, right? So maybe it's rev share on this offer, and for whatever reason that placement is just giving really, really low revenue on those rev shares. So I would probably get rid of all these top 3 that are spent quite a lot and are not profitable yet. You could also make a rule like if it's over 500 impressions and has no conversions, then kill it or something like that. But I would generally base these things on spend. How quickly you kill these off really depends on your sensitivity with budget. Okay, so I'm going to pause these. Okay, profit here, yep, all negative, kill you off. Okay, and I mean, that's pretty much it. Again, there's the whole whitelist approach you could use, but in this case, I'm just going to kill off some zones and keep running the original campaign. These placements here, these ones, are all very, very close to a kill decision. If these get to, say, 50 cents of spend and have no conversions, I'm going to kill them off. And given there's quite a lot of data, at some point I might increase how sensitive I am there in terms of killing them off. Like maybe if it's spent 30 cents and has no conversions, then I start killing it just to get a bit more aggressive. But yeah, I think that's all to really do at the moment. Another thing you could consider is if you have placements where they are converting but the ROI is not great. So for example, this one here. The other thing you could do is you could set a fixed bid or change the bid. We're using Smart CPM, so we're actually able to change the rate that we're paying for things. Here you can see the CPM is $1.93. So what I could do is I could calculate, what CPM can I pay for this for it to actually make sense, maybe at 0.9, and I could apply that rate. Oh, what does this say? Min value is 1. Okay, so the minimum CPM is 1. Well, we don't have much leeway here, right? Like 10% reduction. There you go. But I can add it just to see what happens. But yeah, that's pretty much it. I'll leave this for one more day and have another look at the data tomorrow. I'm not sure if it'll be profitable then, probably not, because this is still a very broad campaign. But yeah, if I wanted profit, I would definitely advise moving these to a whitelist campaign and just focusing more spend there to see if they sustain that profit. I just don't want to really go through the effort for a technical case study, but hopefully you can see anyway the potential. There's money to be made there, just requires optimization and a workflow and strategy that leads to chasing those profits. Okay, anyway, that's all for this video. I'll see you in the next one.